you get up in pain, you spend the day in pain, you go to bed in pain. Then when you do go to bed because you think, oh, I need sleep, you don't sleep. You get the restless legs and you can't get to sleep and you're so tired, and the more tired you are, the less you're going to sleep. And now you realize you're watching the clock. Now it's 4 o'clock, now it's 5 o'clock, and you're
circle.
like, I need to be up at 7, and it's constant.
Fibromyalgia is a chronic disorder characterized by widespread pain, fatigue, sleep, memory, and mood issues. It is believed to be caused by the brain and spinal cord processing pain signals differently, leading to an increased sensitivity to pain.
What do you think it would feel like to be in pain every day? On the good days, the pain is bad, and on those bad days, it's absolutely excruciating. Pain that gets you down, makes you feel miserable, and it's a struggle to carry on with your everyday like anybody else. Well, today we meet Gilliane. She's going to tell us a little bit about her struggle with fibromyalgia. Gilliane, we've come to one of two of your happy places. I know there are a lot of people who tend to find a happy place, especially when things are really, really down. One of yours is up there in the rock where you kind of like escape for some quiet time. Yeah. And another is this fantastic winter beach.
Yes, it is indeed.
In Eastern Beach. But people need to understand why you need to escape and find a happy place. So let's start with the story of how this all began, because it was a really unusual and very difficult journey.
It was unusual. It was, I've had fibromyalgia now for maybe 26 years, 27. At the time, it was not something that was known. It was unheard of, really. It started off by a random pain in a thumb. And you would never think that that could be, but it was very severe. Lasted a few hours, then it went away. Following week was my other thumb. Wondering, oh, something's happening, you don't know what it is. But as the time progresses, you notice that, my wrists were starting to hurt. My ulnar nerve, which basically felt like when you hit your funny bone. It was like I was constantly hitting my funny bone. That would reflect all the way down to my thumb, to my pinky and my thumb. And that's when I started. I must have been like that for about a year when I started to, lose my patience with all these pains that I was getting. So I started the doctors. It was like, let's try steroids. That could work. You try all that, it doesn't work. I started doing a bit of online researching. At the time, it was the dial-up. And everything I read was like, you're crazy, the doctors say it's all in my head. But I could see a lot of similarity in what they were writing to the pain I was feeling. And it wasn't just a few of us. There were quite a few people that were suffering with this type of pain. But it was all going undiagnosed. And it was like, no, it's all in your mind. So, I carried on with the doctor for about a year and a half and then started saying, I want a second opinion. So I did get sent to UK, I must admit. And yeah, I had heard the word fibromyalgia, but at that time, fibromyalgia was associated with mental issues. So of course, you don't want to hear the doctor say you've got fibromyalgia, because for me it was like you're saying I'm crazy, it's all in my mind, yet the pain was so real. So in the end, I was in UK, I had so many tests done, and in the end it was just my nerve conduction, which I've had a few done, and that's basically they just wrap your fingers with like a Velcro and it's wet, and then they just put something that causes like electric currents. They came back saying it was normal, that there was nothing there, and yeah, people want to hear there's nothing wrong with you, but when you know something's wrong and you keep being told, nope, your bloods are all right, nope, your nerve conductions are fine, they are trying to make you believe that everything is fine, so you start to wonder whether it is in your head or not, but the pain is very real. So in the end, he says to me, what you have is fibromyalgia. And I said, well, you're basically saying I'm crazy. And he said, no, not anymore. You know, he said that apparently 2 years before that, it had become an official illness. And it was just, for me personally, fibromyalgia means we don't know what you've got. Fibromyalgia is all neuropathy. It's all got to do with your brain, with your cells, and it's a confusion that apparently the cells are made to believe that there's a pain bigger than it is, because I may have a migraine like you have, yet my migraine is way stronger and mine will actually make me go into bed, whereas yours, 2 paracetamol will sort it. It was very, very difficult for me to accept the diagnosis, because with the diagnosis comes there's nothing we can do about it. So at the beginning, you're like, no, I refuse to live like this. I remember sitting with a doctor and him saying, well, this is fibromyalgia. This is your pain. You have to live around your pain. I got up and I was like, you know, you're crazy. You're not well in your head. How can you ask me to live like this, you know? And at the time, my pains were up to my elbow. In the end, you realize that nothing you do comes back. You know, you want tests, you want MRIs done. I've had all these. Nothing comes back. Nothing. Everything's negative. So you start, okay, now it's time to see what is causing this. What can I do to make things better? There is not a lot you can do. You've got good days, you've got bad days. I think the most important thing is to accept. You accept what it is. You accept how you get up every morning and you carry on. I've seen people who haven't managed, and for them it was too much on a daily basis, so they gave up work. They're home now. I've seen them, they've put on so much weight. They're finding it harder to walk. I have all those issues. But for me, for example, my daily, I'll give you an example. I wake up in the morning. If I have to go to work, I'm obviously getting up very early. When I wake up, I sit on the side of the bed, and just waking up, it feels like I've had a lorry go through me. Last night, I've been, like I say, I've been run over by a double-decker. When I put my feet on the ground, it's like I've stepped on a bed of nails. I just get all these needles sticking in That's okay. I just stand up. I wait for the feeling to go. I look like an 80-year-old because I'm hunched over. By the time I start walking my corridor into my kitchen, I'm straightening up. I'm straight. I'm ready for my day. Yeah, I've got pain in my back. I've got pain in my neck. I've got pains in my feet, in my hands. But it no longer bothers me. I still get up. I go do my thing. And basically, you just carry on. You go to work. There are days where I cry because maybe all of a sudden I'm getting these pains coming, and when they come, because it's neuropathy, and it's all got to do with nerves and nerve endings, when something comes, it's like an electric shock. So when I'm at work and all of a sudden you see me grabbing my thumb, and then it's like, oh, and after a while it's coming, and it just comes, and when it comes in such a big wave that you hold on and all you can do is cry, because there is nothing else nothing stops the pain. I don't cry that often anymore, but I've cried a lot. I find that you're alone, because you see me now, I look fine. You wouldn't think that Gilliane right now has about 3 or 4 pains that are really bugging me. One of them, for example, is my arm. I have a lot of difficulty with my arms and my hands. I think those are the worst areas, and it's because I've had them the longest. My back has been affected, my head. I think that's one thing that I find harder to cope with, and it's what's called the fibro fog. It's true. At the beginning, you think fibro fog, you know, but when you start realizing that you've forgotten words, that you're trying to to say something and the words are not coming because you can't think of the right words, and you're like, but you know, you start to panic a little bit because you don't remember something that's so common. My children, I try to think back. It's very sad because when I try to think back to my kids being little, I can hardly remember, if I'm honest. There are many things that I just forget. My kids have their birthdays. What do parents do? Oh, they go on the social media and they write all this thing about happy birthday, and I cannot do that anymore. I cannot do that because I cannot get out of happy birthday, my darling, and the normal stuff, which is a day-to-day. But if I have to really express myself, I'm lost. My brain just doesn't work that way anymore. It takes me a lot of having to sit and find a word, and then maybe one day a big word comes to mind and I'm like, why now? I can't use that word anywhere, you know, but that's a word I really wanted to use last week. They just go. So your memory goes, and it's hard. It's hard to cope with the fog and the headaches you get constantly. I'm constantly suffering from migraines. It's got to do with fibromyalgia. Then I started getting occipital neuralgia, which is basically at the back of your head, reflects behind your ears and on top. Call them suicidal headaches. I get them, and it's like, it's bad. But there's nothing you can do for it, you know, other than get somebody to kill your nerves in your head, which I've been asked, you know, they're willing to do. I'm not willing to go that far. Everything they want to sort out with injections. You know, my neck is really painful. I have problems moving my head and looking down. Easiest way, oh, we can give you an injection. Yeah, I had six needles going through my spine. It's not nice, but it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work, why carry on? You know what I mean? I've just had it done on my back. Oh, we'll do an epidural. I wasn't happy. He wanted my neck and my back. I said, well, if I've got to settle for one, I'll settle for my lower back. 5 minutes. It wasn't 5 minutes. My spine is fused together. I couldn't stick the needle through. So that in itself was an ordeal. And then you think, what for? What for? Pain does not go away.
Yeah.
Fibromyalgia is that. Fibromyalgia is you're going to live in pain. You're going to have pain every day. You can try whatever they offer, but I try once. If it doesn't work, I do not go back for the second time, you know, and it's constant. It's like, oh, we're going to try the lidocaine. I am on lidocaine infusions now. I go once every couple of months. They'll sit me there for 3 hours. They'll just pump this lidocaine through my veins. I've said, right, 2 sessions, nothing's happening. I'll try one more. If it doesn't work, I won't go again because it's wasting my time, and it just makes me frustrated to see that I'm trying, but I'm getting no relief.
Yeah.
You know, and what's the point? What's the point?
Let's talk about the pain, because I think you're playing it down a little bit, because when that pain first started in your thumb, just to give viewers an idea of, pain is very, very difficult to explain, and levels of pain is difficult to explain. That first time that you got the pain running through your thumb, you literally wanted to rip your thumb off because it didn't stop.
I've been to A&E and I've said to them, listen, you either get rid of this pain or I will leave and I will come back with my arm in a bag.
Exactly.
And I was ready to do that day. Remember that it's nerve pain. Nerve is like shock. It's like an electric current.
So you have shooting pains or throbbing pains?
No,
is
it's
it there all the time?
No, it's a pain that comes, and when it comes, it's like I explained to you the last time. I said, I've had 3 children. I haven't had them naturally. I've had C-sections. I don't know what it is to have a pain, labor pain. But this was so similar to what I've seen, because it was like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I would hold my thumb, it's coming, and I'd be screaming, and then it would go away, and it was like, and then it was like, oh, it's coming back, it's coming back. And it was constantly as if you were getting a labor pain where you wait and then the contraction comes along. This is the same. This was the same with my hands. It's the same with my arms. A little flinch, for example, if I was to tap just underneath my arm, I get an electric shock down to my arm. The pain from the ulna down. For you, you say I'm playing it down. It's just because I've had it for so long. You learn to live with this. And it's true. I thought I would never learn to live with this sort of pain. It's everywhere. you know, and it's like you can't complain, because how would it look if I was to say to you, oh, Justine, today I've got a really bad pain on my arm, but then 15 minutes later I'd be saying, oh, my back is killing me, Justine, and I'm getting a migraine.
People would think you're a hypochondriac.
Exactly, because I'll then go on to say my ankle's going. I can be walking down normally and all of a sudden my ankle gives way and I'll sort of like fall and I'm like in a lot of pain. I don't know why. So I think something's wrong. I go to the doctor. Fibromyalgia. You go again for something else. It's the fibromyalgia. And in the end you're like, do they know what's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? Or do I have to accept that fibromyalgia, and the more I read about it, there are so many things under the umbrella. I don't have all of the symptoms. There are people who get rashes. I don't get rashes, but I have everything else. For me, the worst thing I manage with is my headaches. That is harder for me to cope with. Migraines are bad, let alone when you get them associated with the fibromyalgia. The pain, like I say, my neck, there are days where I can't hardly look sideways and I can feel as if the sand, I've got like sand and it's like, you hear the cracking sound. You get used to it, Justine. You don't bother to complain anymore.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. When you don't complain, people don't believe you when you do complain, because it's like, you look well. Yeah, because there's not much else I can do. You know, if I did what I want to do every day, I wouldn't get out of bed.
Exactly.
Every time I get a pain, I just want to go to bed. Do you know what it feels like when you're so full of energy? I am a nervous person. I need to be active. And you'll see me at work and I'll be super active. I'm dealing with the public and all of a sudden, it's just sudden that I feel as if you've just stuck something on me and it's like draining my battery, and all of a sudden I've gone from having a full battery to an empty one. And right that minute, all I want to do is just sleep. I need to sleep. I need to sit. I can't stand. I'm so tired. That's what they call the lethargicness that comes with it, the fatigue, the chronic fatigue. Yeah, I suffer from that all the time. But you learn not to associate. I don't say, oh yeah, I'm so tired because I've got fibromyalgia. No, I'm just tired right now.
How do you manage, I mean, for people who don't know, you work in customs, so
yeah, I work borders.
That's on your feet for long hours of the day.
Yeah.
You're dealing with luggage, which is heavy and cumbersome, people.
I'm stubborn though, because I do get offered help when it comes to moving suitcases and searching cases.
Yeah.
I've got a good group and they will come and say, Gilliane, I will take it. But I'm very stubborn and I will say, no, I can deal with it. I don't want to let fibromyalgia rule me. You know, I rule my fibromyalgia. I say when I can't deal with it anymore. And there are not many days where I do have to end up in bed, because I will fight it. I will fight it. I'm working, and yes, when the archway's gone off 20 times, you're having to constantly go down and search a person. Yeah, you get pain. I get pain in my back, my arms, having my arms up, constantly searching you, that causes pain. You get on with it.
You just soldier on.
You just carry on. What can you do? What can you do? I can't just leave work. I can't be saying, oh, today I'm having a bad day, because, you know, they don't care. You need to go. You need to do your work, because obviously your post requires your presence.
How does it affect your day-to-day, your family life? I mean, you're a grandmother, picking up kids, being with your partner, chores around the house.
Chores, if I was to say, for example, hanging out my washing, because I have to lean out the window. My husband tends to help me most of the time with that. It's very painful for me to have my arms stretched. It's very painful when I need to open a bottle. I need to open a can. I've already got the silicone things that help me, because my hands are the worst part, I think. There are days where I do feel like there's something broken in there, because, you know, my wrists, they just won't help. It's just bad, but I carry on. The relationships at home, it's hard for my husband to understand how all of a sudden I'm so tired, you know. I want to go to bed. At 8 o'clock I'm ready for bed. But I've been working and I come home, I need to unwind and spend time with the family. But it's not easy. It's not easy. He wants to go out. my body won't, I may want to, but my body doesn't want to come with me. So it's like, I say, no tengo gana, or I'm tired, and you can see the disappointment.
Yeah.
But it's hard, I assume, for them to understand something that they cannot see.
That's the difficulty, as with many invisible illnesses and disabilities. It's that if you can't see it, you can't empathize with it.
Because I'm not crying all the time, because I'm not complaining all the time, because I don't spend my life in A&E. I lost my hope with the hospital. I won't go to hospital unless I go for either a really bad migraine or my back. Those are the two things that will take me to A&E.
Yeah.
And when I do go, it's like, excuse me, I don't want to take up anybody's time. I don't want to waste the doctor's time. This is fibromyalgia. All I want, give me a Voltarol injection. That's fine by me. And that's what I'll do. I'll just get my injection, go home. It'll get better. It won't go away, but it'll get better. My granddaughter, I've had her last night, for example. This morning, she was hyper. My arms, I just couldn't deal with her. So I said at 9:30 this morning, it was like, okay, time to leave. We've been out since then. And it's just because I have problems picking her up all the time. And she's throwing herself off my arm. And, you're thinking, is she going to fall because of me? And you don't want to be the cause for her to an accident or things. So it's not easy.
It's hard.
It's not easy.
When you look at chronic pain conditions, one of the knock-on effects is your mental health, anger, resentment,
lack of patience.
lack of patience.
Yeah.
A lot of people are angry all of the time because it makes you miserable. It really does make you miserable, and you can't see, you can't see past that cloud that's hovering above you. How do you feel in those moments?
I am a very reserved person. That is why I like the beach. There are days where I can't deal with life anymore, I honestly can say now that for a while I've been mentally in a different place, but I have gone through the process of, thinking, is this going to be my life? I cannot live the rest of my life like this because I am in pain. And you get up in pain, you spend the day in pain, you go to bed in pain. Then when you do go to bed because you think, oh, I need sleep, you don't sleep. You get the restless legs, that urge that you need to move your legs, and I try and fight it like I always do. I think that fighting with my head is going to solve everything. It doesn't. And you can't get to sleep, and you're so tired, and the more tired you are, the less you're going to sleep. And now you realize you're watching the clock. Now it's 4 o'clock, now it's 5 o'clock, and you're like, I need to be up at 7, and it's constant, it's very difficult to be able to get to bed and have a clear mind. So that's why I said to you, I travel. I go to bed at night, and the only way that my head goes into a nice place is if I suddenly dream of, okay, where am I going to travel to today? And I just think of something nice, as if I've gone on holiday, and maybe I won't last long because I will fall asleep because I'm having a happy thought, because I'm not concentrating on all the bad things that I have there and then. You wake up, you think, okay, I'm up, I want to sleep. So you fight to go back to sleep. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. I think I do everything with fighting. I told you, I fight my fibro. And for me, it's like, oh, you want to give me a bad day today, yeah? Today's going to be a bad day. Today's not going to be a bad day because I'm going to go over it and you're not going to get me down. So the more I'm in pain, the more you will see me doing. Like I am struggling with a suitcase. Yeah. And you offer to help me. I'll say no. Because if I give in to that, then I'm giving in to my pain. So no, I will take the suitcase, I will search the suitcase, and then I'll take it back to the person. And then I'll say, oh my God, my arm. But I will do it. I am now at a stage where I refuse to let fibromyalgia rule my life. It's not gonna happen.